Vegas Home Services has your shot at 4 tickets to see Green Bay take on the Purple in early January, plus $500 in game day cash. Register for your chance to win today on the KFAN contest page. That's KFAN.com/furnace to enter today.
It's going to be, we've been talking earlier about Adam Thielen signing with Pittsburgh and that he had his choices. I don't think that's correct. It says waiver period. After being waived, a player is placed on a waiver wire for a set period, typically 24 hours during the season. During this window, any of the other 32 NFL teams can submit a claim to acquire the player. If multiple teams place a claim on the same player, the team with the highest waiver priority gets the player.
Yeah, that's what I'd said.
Oh. No, but I said, guys, I thought you meant that he didn't have a choice. He could go wherever he wants.
No. What I said was it's a waiver claim, but a team is going to talk with him before putting a claim on him.
Right.
And make sure he wants to go there.
Yeah. Oh, I see what you're saying.
Given his situation that it's his last hurrah. They're not just going to claim him off waivers if he doesn't want to be there.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you're saying. I thought you just meant that he could say, nah, Pittsburgh, no thanks.
No.
And he could kind of pick and choose who he wanted. Because I wasn't sure. I thought maybe that was the rule, but somebody had tried to clarify it. So he is with the Pittsburgh Steelers hoping to get to a big game. Well, your Minnesota Golden Gopher football team basketball team last night. They act like they actually want to play these games. And it was refreshing to see that from a local basketball team. They were up against it, playing number 22, 3 starters out, including their starting point guard, and they came and they played basketball and they beat court storming even.
Well, I caught the second half, and I honestly had forgotten they were playing. We talked about it. I went, oh my God! I was listening to Grimm, of course, on these very airwaves. He does such a wonderful job, play by play.
Oh, there's nobody better.
He's terrific. He's a national treasure. But I raced home, and the Gophers I think they were nursing a 6-point lead, 7-point lead, and then Indiana cut it, and I put it on, and I was glued. Really, it was fun to watch the barn kind of come alive again for their first Big Ten game, and for Nico Medved, a big day, a big moment for him, and the Gophers showed a lot of composure. I mentioned you before the break. I thought, even when they didn't score, I thought that the flow of the game for Minnesota looked so much smoother than what I've seen in a few years. Even if they didn't score, they just had great movement outside. They're passing the ball.
You like this Gophers club?
Well, they're not going to win a lot of Big Ten games. I mean, against. Well, look I shouldn't say that. They just beat Indiana. Now next week they have to play at number 1, not 1 in the Big Ten, 1 in the country. I think Purdue's number 1, and no one expects them to win the game. They'll be obviously double digit. And
they have nobody that can match up with Zach Edey. So,
no, they don't. No, they do not. Zach Edey now in the NBA, but they're. It's going to be tough. I mean, they lost some really good players.
Is he in the NBA now?
Yeah, he's in the NBA.
Oh.
Asima Isaac, he had to move to the point guard position, and he's from Cherry, Minnesota. Is that where he's from?
Correct.
I like the kid's composure. I like the way he played last night. They got some guys that
My boy played hoops with them.
I know
they were on the same. They were on the same age.
And it's kind of get to know them. I mean, I think for Gopher fans, it's a whole different team. Medved's got to make some moves. They only had, I think, like 7 healthy players. So a very good game. And the court storming thing. I mean, to me, and it wasn't like it was excessive and people are going, oh, why'd they do? It's just kids running on the court, and it's just let them have some fun. I find it kind of like, it's not worthy of storming. And the word storming is a little, it's not like they were, tearing down the hoops. They
stormed the court.
They ran on, the court's
that's called storming
and
the court.
And it's not easy to do at Williams Arena because you have an elevated floor. So you got to be,
Sounds like you're apologizing for them for storming the court.
No, I'm accepting it. I think that
I'm saying a lot of people would say, why would you storm the court in the first Big Ten game against number 20?
Because they've watched this Gopher program the last how many years? They haven't had much to celebrate. It's not a big deal. It wasn't like they stayed on the court and were destructive or anything. They slapped a couple kids on the back and they had fun. What's wrong with having fun? Let the kids have some fun. It wasn't like usually for decades, even when the Gophers were packing Williams Arena, the best seats in the house were taken by me. The goal that I would sit press box, down below looking up at the floor. That's where
You've always had the best seat in the house.
no, but I mean, I was always sitting near Sid, who would be yelling at the officials the whole game. And he would do it. He would never, he'd know him by first name and he'd yell at him. Anyway, what I'm saying is the students would be upstairs most of the time. Now they got him downstairs, and it wasn't a big deal. And I it was nice to see, I think it was Andy Katz that did the interview with Nico right after the game. He got a little emotional because he was one of those guys in the stands not that long ago. So a nice win for him. And, they don't have to apologize for it. And it's going to be tough to, in the Big Ten. And, but I like, again, if you watch the game last night, if you watch the way they move the basketball, you could tell they've been practicing exactly what. No, I meant the way that Nico wants them to play. I mean, they've been pretty. I don't use the word stodgy.
You like this Medved guy, don't you?
Well, I like the way the Gophers responded last night. I'm not even talking about just the win. I like the way they played the game. I mean, just fundamentally just played the game of basketball last night. They really were in sync with each other, and that's something that we haven't seen for a little while. So kudos to them. Have some fun. Enjoy it. You got to go probably get waxed at Purdue next week, and I don't know how they're going to make up for the loss of their starting point guard, but that's just the way life goes. Can't bring somebody up from the minors.
We sure Zach Edey doesn't play there anymore?
I'm positive that Zach Edey does not play for Purdue. He's in the NBA.
Who's he play for in the NBA?
I can't remember. Memphis? Is it who? I don't.
He got drafted in the first round.
Yeah, he did. I mean, I didn't think that would happen.
How many times did he win NCAA Player of the Year?
Twice, right? Did he?
I don't know. You're the expert. You're going to have to correct me on the Zach. He had to let the audience know you can't pull the wool over Mark's eyes.
Well, I mean, you thought he was still at Purdue.
Well, of course I didn't. That's my bit.
Oh, okay.
He does play for Memphis.
All right. Well, I got that. See, I'm right. 2 for 2.
Yeah.
And was he big? Was he National Player of the Year?
Player of the Year 2 years in a row? Tennessee?
I don't know.
Well, you said he was. You said it with confidence.
Well, I mean, only because most times guys don't stick around for that extra year.
Yeah, it looks like he did 2 years in a row.
See?
3 for 3. I rest my case. Anyway, no, he's not. He's Memphis.
What was Frank Brimsick's nickname?
Mr. Zero or something.
See, there you go. See,
I was listening to you.
You're the sports authority.
I didn't do the meat sauce thing. I actually listened to you.
You're a sports authority.
I didn't know that before you mentioned it. I may have heard it years ago, but
yeah, Mr. Zero.
And the Wolves.
They also call him meat sauce Mr. Zero.
Yes,
for a different reason.
And the Wild play tonight. And they don't. Mr. Zero will not be playing tonight. No. Probably in Calgary.
They're just going back and forth. One guy, Gus one day, and then Brimsick the next. Gus one day, Brimsick the next.
Well, they're playing a bad team tonight. They hopefully aren't going to let up.
Worst team in hockey. I think Tennessee said, at least record-wise, are they the worst team in hockey? Record-wise?
Yes. Though I feel like there's more parity this year than there's ever been.
Oh, there definitely
after
is.
Colorado.
Yeah. Yes. After Colorado.
Because even like the Wild, the Wild currently have the third best record in the league.
Yeah, they're in third place.
They have, they're 15-7-5. If you think about it, you've won 15 games, you've lost 12. And they have the third best record.
Oh, that's crazy.
Obviously, it's, when you're losing in overtime as opposed to regulation, that changes things.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like there's a lot of parity this year. Because a lot of those bottom feeder teams that we've seen in recent years, the San Jose's, the Chicago's, the Anaheims, their young cores are now starting to get better and they're starting to elevate. So,
yeah. That's good to see. It's good for the league. Before they take their...
The Florida Panthers have the worst record in the East right now.
How about that?
But even then, they're 12-12-1, and they have the worst record.
Yeah.
Tonight, are we on the road?
Calgary. It's at Calgary, yes. 8 o'clock start.
Yeah. Before they come back, and then
how are they going to grow the game with an 8 o'clock start?
Well, in Calgary, it's not 8 o'clock.
Yeah, but what about here?
Well, it's not 9:40.
8 o'clock is not late. 8 o'clock's great.
It's still late.
They played 9 o'clock. They had a 9 o'clock game here.
It's 8 for people like me.
Well, you.
I like the teeth in the glass awfully early.
I know. It's the way you'll be watching the kiddies anyway.
What are you going to watch?
I'm watching the Cowboys tonight, and then I'll watch. We got program predicament. We got the Wolves playing in New Orleans again. What time is that game tonight? I hope it's earlier. I'll be flipping
That's
around.
A 7 o'clock
You're
start.
not going to.
I'll put it on the second half. Watch a little bit of it, but no, I'm not.
You should boycott the team like I do until they start wanting to play those games.
You don't watch any of the games, so it's not a question of boycotting them. You don't watch. It's just established.
Well, this text message just came in and says, "Go ahead, Rosen, stick up for that lazy effort by the Timberwolves."
I didn't though. I didn't. What's wrong? Yes, when we had that combination, that's the first thing I talked about was, oh my God, I get so exhausted.
Well, I read what he said.
I'm just saying I didn't stick up for them. When did I haven't even talked about the Timberwolves. And secondly, I didn't at all after the game the other night. I said we've seen this movie before. They gave up, I don't know how many points, and they should have lost. If this gentleman or person was listening, I said they were fortunate to win to get the game to overtime. They made a couple good defensive plays at the end when they actually started trying defensively at the end of the game, and it almost cost them a game. And that's just that. And tonight they'll probably win.
What can a coach do to fix this? Because this has been all season, and apparently,
excuse me, Rick and Mike. Finch talked to the team before the game about it, and then they had their worst defensive performance. So they don't apparently listen either. And I guess, I guess if they make postseason play, because, Ant kind of said, he goes, it seems like that we just don't want to play these games. We just want to get to the playoffs. And they probably will make the playoffs almost by default because they're going to be one of the top 8 teams. They just are, I would think, unless... No, they're going. Unless Ant gets hurt.
Some injuries or if they really...
They'll be a top 6 team for sure.
But what is there... How long do you just... Does the organization just continue to accept as long as they stay with more wins than losses? Just go out.
The inmates are running the asylum. And that's the NBA. That's not just the Timberwolves. That is the NBA. I mean, that's a lot of what goes on when it's a product for the most part of an 82 game schedule when you're playing every other night, and these games don't have that much meaning until it comes. Bring it to the ticket in the fourth quarter. They kind of go through the motions, and many times that's what costs many of these games, many of these teams. And I don't think any coach can change that sort of mindset. And it has to come within.
Let's take a break, come back, a couple more segments to go. Mark Rosen, Common and 10 to be here on The Fan.
Looking for a real connection this holiday? It's Just Lunch and KFAN are giving one lucky listener the chance to win a complimentary 3-month It's Just Lunch membership, the personalized matchmaking service that sets you up on fun, meaningful dates with people you'll actually want to meet. Head over to KFAN.com, keyword contest to enter today.
Couple 13-14 pastime Common. He's 10 to me. Mark Rosen here as well. You're getting ripped. Well, first of all, someone says, the one that he said, go ahead, Rosen. Why don't you stick up for the Wolves? Everybody goes, much love for Rosie. I don't know why I get such a charge out of getting him going.
Oh, okay.
Apologies. And then after apologies, he goes, hi, Alto.
Hi, Alto. Yeah.
People just like getting you going.
I wonder why. I don't understand where that comes from.
Where did they learn that? How about this one?
I don't know.
Rosen just said he's seen this movie before talking about the Wolves. Are you saying that basketball is scripted? Do you have any evidence, Mark?
No. I've seen this movie before. I mean, it's not scripted, but it feels like it sometimes. I mean, look at the standings in the NBA. There's a lot of really, really lousy teams, including the one in Milwaukee, where Giannis is out for 2 to 4 weeks before, all those other trade rumors. I heard Doc Rivers I saw an interview with him, and he was so exasperated because he got asked for the 90th time about, trade rumors, and he goes, I will say this again, for the last bleeping time, basically, he is never asked to be traded. That's usually the kiss of death. That means he's probably going to be. And all of a sudden, you're right. Yeah, people were talking about somehow the Wolves got mentioned in possible trade rumors for him. I see about a 1% chance of that happening, but if it did, welcome to town.
Wolves a top 6 team for sure. Not so fast.
Yeah.
We're a 6 seed now and have had one of, if not the easiest schedules in the league, John from Owatonna.
I just don't. I don't think they'll be.
You picked them to be a 2nd seed.
Well, I did. That's a little aggressive. I admit that, but it. I mean, look at this. I'm just pulling up the standings here.
Mark said he's exhausted. I thought he was in better shape now than he was at 45.
I'm exhausted from the comments. I think that, 6, OKC we know is going to probably win 70 games the way they're going. Lakers, Houston, San Antonio, they'll get, I don't know how long Wemby's out, and Denver. And then, the Wolves are there. It'll be a battle between, I think, 4, 5, and 6. It'll be close. All those teams will be there. And I don't think Golden State's going to make a run. Phoenix is okay. Memphis is done. Portland's, not going anywhere, and the rest of them are irrelevant. So, they'll be in the top 6, but hopefully it'll be closer to 4th.
Common is the only host who really calls it like he sees it, holding local clubs accountable. Everyone else could take note, and I agree with that. Well, you're laughing. It's what I'm reading. I didn't make that up. You want to read it?
No, I don't need to read it. I don't need to read it. But I mean,
I hold him accountable. I'm the only one, and you could take note.
Okay.
What he says.
I'm not even quite sure what that means.
Are you familiar with the Battle of the Little Bighorn?
I've heard of it.
Also known as Custer's Last Stand.
Yes. He didn't do real well there.
According to the Lakota and other Plains Indians, they knew it as the Battle of the Greasy Grass.
Really?
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
An armed engagement between combined forces of the Lakota, Northern Cheyenne, and Arapaho tribes in the 7th Cavalry Regiment of the United States Army took place June 25 and 26, doubleheader. 1876 along the Little Bighorn River in the Crow Indian Reservation in southeastern Montana Territory. The battle, which resulted in the defeat of U.S. forces, was the most significant action of the Great Sioux War of 1876. Tonight, it's the Battle of Danny Campbell. This is their last stand. This is Campbell's last stand.
Wow, that was a stretch.
They at 7-5 and where they stand, they have to beat Dallas tonight. Do you go to 7-6?
I agree.
Obviously, if they won the rest of their games after that and other things happen, they're not technically, officially, mathematically eliminated. But you can't lose at home. They've lost too many games at home, including on Thanksgiving to Green Bay. They lost to Minnesota at the litter box. They're on the right after the playoffs started today. They're one of them is that they're on the outside in the hunt looking in. But this would really, I think, be the death knell.
I took a comment to emphasize. I took a picture of the odds, like if they win, if they lose. One of those things for this weekend. Currently, right now, the Lions have a 57% chance of making the playoffs. If they lose tonight, it goes down to 23.
Yep.
The Cowboys, not good right now, and they're only 35% chance of making the playoffs. If they lose, it's down to 8%.
Yeah.
So that's the importance of this game in particular for Dallas. Well, for both teams, really. You might be right about
Dallas's
that.
odds. Well, here's what it is for Detroit. It's what they need help, obviously, and one of the things they need help, especially if they go 4-1. I was looking through some playoff scenarios for all the different teams and what they needed to have happen. And obviously, it gets very complicated. They have to do this, and then you have to hope this team lose or tie or whatever it is. But Detroit really needs either Green Bay or Chicago, and probably Chicago, because Detroit got swept by Green Bay. So they have a tiebreaker advantage. Chicago and Green Bay have 2 games this week and then 2 weeks from now. What would really benefit Detroit is 2 Chicago wins, I think. I think that would, because they're probably not going to win the division, but then that if
got a wild card.
Yeah, if they're they can't be tied with Green Bay, I guess, technically, because unless they get a tie, but they need a sweep by the way it was written, either by Green Bay or by Chicago would really benefit Detroit. But you got to take care of your own business, and I just don't know what their chances tonight.
One of the more interesting ones over the weekend, we didn't touch it on Spread Swing, no one jumped on it, but Kansas City-Houston game for the Chiefs, team that you expect to be in the postseason. They're playing at home against Houston, and right now they currently have only a 56% chance of making the playoffs. If they lose that game to Houston, and that certainly no given that they're going to win that game, imagine there'd be 14% a chance of making the postseason. The Patrick Mahomes-led Kansas City Chiefs, we're so used to having him at the least in the AFC Championship game. That's how far they would be dropped against a good Texan defense. So, like I said, there's a lot of great games this weekend. We haven't even touched on the Vikings situation because nationally it's not interesting to pretty much anybody. Locally, of course, there's a lot of interest in seeing J.J. McCarthy come back, and once we get past KOC's word salad about what he expects from J.J. McCarthy.
Well, is it word salad? Sounds like when you say word salad,
he's the mixed messaging. I mean, first didn't we not hear for almost like 2 weeks? He's got to work on his fundamentals. He's got to work on his footwork. We got to have the cement dry. He's working on all these other things. Now, basically, what I read into it was, listening to him, let's just go out there and wing it. Throw the ball around.
I think you're on to something. We'll talk about it on the other side of the break, because I think that's exactly what it's saying. But to me, that's a failure in communication, a failure in messaging, and it's a failure by the head coach. If they've taken a certain tact and that tact didn't work, they have to change. That means they've done something wrong. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. One more segment to go here with the legendary Mark Rosen on the Fan.
Join KFAN's Corey Cove December 8th at Eagle Street in St. Paul for Coors Light Hockey Night. Drop by starting at 7 p.m. to pregame from Minnesota versus Seattle. Enjoy ice-cold Coors Light specials and play trivia for your chance to win great prizes, including sweet tickets to a game in January. Get the full details now at KFAN.com. Keyword calendar.
Watch the Wild play the Kraken while you're cracking open at Coors Light. Like that?
I like it.
I'm a slogan now.
Really
Did you get that? See, the Seattle Kraken. Watch the Wild take on the Kraken while you're cracking open a Coors Light, because it's Coors Light.
It's spelled a little differently.
Vikings Uncensored at Joe Censors.
Yeah. Then Rosen had to make sure I knew it was spelled different.
Well, you never know. You may not be aware of that.
I think you're doing that because you want the listeners to know that you're not bamboozled by the
Well, when you're doing the promotion, though, you spell it the way the team is, though.
Yeah.
100%.
Right, because it's a promotion.
That's exactly right. Tim understands it. This text message, or this email, because I lost the text message.
Why?
Well, because I don't have an authenticate.
Oh, my God.
The coroner's office opened it up for me, but then I accidentally closed it when I was going to send a response to somebody. And now to get it open again, I'd have to get an authentication code. I don't, so I can't. So I'll go to this email that says, common boycotting the Timberwolves is like Tennessee boycotting lettuce or Rosen boycotting picking up the tab.
Oh, my God.
I always love that one.
I'm picking up the tab.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. I haven't done that enough.
So on Tuesday, we were at Shields for Toys for Tots. Because of that, we wanted to dedicate the entire day to Toys for Tots. Right. So we preempted the debut of the Nico Medved show. So the Nico Medved show was yesterday from noon to 1. So because of that, the head coach of the soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings, his news conference, I think on Wednesdays is 12:30 or 12:45. So we did not air that yesterday. We generally do and then comment on it. So I did not know what the coach had to say until I looked at Fish Wrap Factory East, West, and The Athletic today. And
you got his quotes there?
You got his quotes from when he was talking about JJ McCarthy. And asked, what are we going to, what's the plan now? And here's what O'Connell said. It's purely about decision-making at this point. I want him to have a clear head and a clear mind to just go play. Play with an understanding of the decisions that I make have to be of the utmost importance, because we learned our turnover numbers is where it is. It's not a winning formula. I don't want him overthinking or worrying about if the fundamentals need to be changed. Let's just make the throws. Let's just throw and catch. Let's just play with great rhythm and understanding of the plan. And you're right, when they've been working for so long this year on mechanics, eyes and feet, and this and that and the other thing. And I think a lot of us were a little taken aback by that, surprised, if not astonished, that you think when you get to this point in your career, you know, the comparisons, you know, when the debate was, you know, when Wentz was playing, there were some of us who were saying, well, if he keeps winning, I think you got to play him. And the other Viking fans are saying, we're not going anywhere with Carson Wentz. Mm-hmm. We have to see what we have in the quarterback. And so, okay, that's all fine and good. But the quarterback doesn't even have the basics down, right? And so you say to yourself, well, without the basics down, what's the point? But then, if you don't have the basics down and you can't, you got to stop worrying. So I think the coach is right in the approach you're taking now. It's like you just got to say, throw that out, and we can work on that in the off season if it needs to be worked on again. But right now, just go out and play the game of football. Pretend you're playing in high school again, where you never lost a game, and you're with your pals, and just wing it around a little bit, because he probably is overthinking everything. And Tenneby and I talked about it, and we're not the first to say this, I'm sure. Like when you're playing golf, you're never supposed to think about, when you're at the driving range, that's when you think about, maybe you're working on keeping your left arm straight or whatever the case may be. Well, once you get out on the golf course, or you play golf, and so you work on the range, on the technical aspects on it. And I think the same thing in football. You work on that, but once you get into the game, you just gotta play, and maybe that will, hopefully he can do that. Hopefully he can put all that aside and just go out there on Sunday, throw the football, make plays, and then maybe see some improvement there.
Yeah, you're right. And it's hard to believe this team's gone, 8 quarters without scoring a touchdown. That's mind-boggling at any particular time in the history of this franchise. And the important thing is that he's got to be present. He needs to be out there. They have games, obviously, against Washington on Sunday. We've talked a lot about Dallas today because they play the Kiddies tonight. Vikings go to Dallas on a Sunday night game, a week from Sunday. Then they have what looks like an easier game, but you never know, playing at New York against the Giants. Then they come home on Christmas Day and play the Lions here. Then they finish up against the Packers. The thing that McCarthy has to do is play in all of those games. I mean, his durability has got to be prominent. I mean, and I know that's something that KOC's talked about. We know that McCarthy can get out and run. He's a really good athlete. He can get out there, but he's got to be smart about how to slide and when to get out of bounds. And the last thing you need to be worrying about with this kid is that he's not going to be able to stay on the field. I mean, he needs reps in the worst possible way, because it's not going to end with however this season ends. Obviously, they're not going to the postseason, but it's going to continue with their offseason program that he missed all of last year. And then into next year. And then if they bring in, we were talking about during the break, Lavelle popped his head in here. If they bring in a Marcus Mariota type of quarterback that is more than just a caretaker that potentially could have to play if McCarthy doesn't get off to a good start. I mean, it's going to be a dicey offseason for a lot of reasons. But McCarthy, more than anything, and I agree, he's got to go out there and just sling the ball. He's got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison to throw the football to. The running game was actually pretty good for a while, and just stay in the game and give them 4 quarters and make it look like they can actually score points. I mean, this is something that I never imagined watch with a Justin Jefferson team that would be this mighty a struggle. And the vertical passing game, KOC loves to throw the ball downfield. We know that. But they got to change things around. Throw quicker slants. Do whatever it is to just stay on the field and move the needle a little bit and play better football. But that's the way it's going to be judged all season long.
I read an email yesterday, and we never were able to dive into it because I think we ran out of time on the show. But the emailer was, he didn't like the body language and the way Justin Jefferson presented himself in the last game. He sat on the end of the bench by himself for a while. He had a towel over his head. And I understand that, but I also think generally you don't want to see that from a player. But when you look at the whole body of work in this of this team in this season and what they've gone through, he is considered the best wide receiver in pro football. It's some wonderful highs, a lot of lows, but wonderful highs. Then you come here and you've been a good soldier, played with every quarter. He's played a lot of different quarterbacks. I mean, he's played with a lot of different quarterbacks. And he continues to say the way. Now, he did not talk the last time, but leading up to that, he always said the right things. He's always been in McCarthy's corner. And I don't think that's just lip service either.
It's not.
From what we understand, from what we're told by the people that are there at Winter Park every day, that cover the club, all the players are giving him a lot of support. If Jefferson were to do this every week and then started getting demonstrative about it, then I would be a little concerned. I think the guy has earned a pass on this, and I'm not, you know me, I'm not a guy saying he could be worse. He could have thrown his helmet, knocked stuff over, be bitter.
I think he's handling it well.
That's what I thought. That's what that's what I'm trying to say.
I got a kick out of it last week. I mean, he caught 2 passes for 4 yards last week. Well, I mean, how frustrated do you think he is right now? And this is week after week after week when you have a thoroughbred like Justin Jefferson is, and there's a lot of pride, there's a lot of ego involved. But the fact he didn't talk to the media after the game, I was laughing at some of these reporters who were talking about, Justin Jefferson didn't talk. You know how many times Randy Moss, even after a decent game, we'd go in the Metrodome locker room and we'd all huddle around his locker waiting for Randy to come back after whatever he was doing, taking a shower or getting ready. And he would come up to the locker and he'd yell at all of us, not at anyone in particular, "Get out of my locker. Get out of my way." Randy, what? Just wanted to ask you a few questions about the game. That happened, I can't even begin to tell you how many weeks. And that was, Randy we all know his mood swings. And last time I looked, he's in the Hall of Fame. I wouldn't read that much into it. Is he frustrated? Who wouldn't be right now? Yeah. I mean, but I don't think it's carried on into this week.
Like Tenneby said, I think he's actually...
Yeah, he's handled it really well.
Pretty well.
Yep.
You had mentioned before, moments ago, about, McCarthy, got to stay healthy, play games, see what we have, just try to develop, just wing it around. Maybe work on if you still need to, work on the mechanics during the offseason and training camp, then come back at it. Because I'm with you, they're going to bring him back. I don't think they're going to, unless he continues to regress over these next 5 games, or they have to bench him again, then they might not bring him back. But more than likely, they're going to bring him back and work on the score. But I lifted this paragraph from, I think it was Alec Lewis from The Athletic, but it could have been from one of the Fish Wraps too. But this is what it says about the Vikings. It says they already have $346 million in cap commitments and $251 million in cash allocated for the 2026 roster, when they'll likely need to create cap space by releasing or restructuring the contracts of several players in their late 20s or early 30s. They could have 9 or 10 draft picks next year, including 4 in the top 100, but a lack of quantity and quality from the recent draft classes forced them to try and build a contender with veterans who carry higher costs and whose bodies have borne more physical stress than young players would. And that's what does that. That's the risk of, when the Vikings made that decision, when they said, we're going to let Darnold walk and Danny Dimes, and we are going to go with the young kid. And what we're going to do is we're going to try to put a lot of safety valves around him, including rebuilding the middle of that offensive line and defensive line. The risk that comes with that, of course, is the players you're getting are free agents usually. You're not getting young guys in their prime, generally speaking. And then you're paying, monstrous money. But what you're doing is you're getting guys, the 4 guys they signed, the 2 in the offense, 2 in the defense, were both quality players, had played very well in their careers, had good reputations.
But expensive.
But they were coming off injuries. Yeah. And they were older and longer in the tooth. And so you take a chance there. And let's face it, the 4 of them combined have not lived up to the expectations this team needed. They've had moments. Fries has been okay. A couple of one of the defensive guys has had his moments, but for the most part, those guys haven't really added much. So then, not only did you decide to not, because you wanted to save money, and you had a lot of trust in your young quarterback, you believed in him, and you thought you could coach him up. Well, not only did that not work to the way you wanted, but then the guys you signed with the money that you saved by not going after Darnold, it's like, because that was one of the comebacks by a lot of listeners. Well, if we would have signed Darnold, we wouldn't have had that money for the free agents. I wish we wouldn't have spent the money on those free agents now, if that makes any sense.
Well, they have to, this is I don't have to be the one to tell you. Everybody listening knows it's a huge off season for Kwesi and for, in particular for the scouting department. And they cannot swing and miss because unlike, they have their draft picks. They have extra draft picks this year. And they have to produce. They have to come out. And they're going to be able to, Rob Brzezinski is a master at the salary cap. And some of those guys won't be back. We know obviously Harrison Smith won't be back. And one of those defensive linemen won't be back. We've seen the emergence of, Eric Wilson has been around for a while, has had a really good season. Jalen Redmond's had a terrific season. Dallas Turner is emerging as a young guy in a rookie contract. It looks like he's going to be a player. Grenard looks very good. The Van Ginkel a year ago, they struck, they hit on all of those guys pretty much. Grenard and Van Ginkel and Cashman have all played real well. They played well this year. They played really well last week in Seattle. And they still got some left in the tank. So it's mostly the Hargrave, Allen middle of the line and how they're going to deal with the offensive line. But they're going to have to move bodies out, and they'll get to the cap number. That's something that they've managed to do, and they can always restructure contracts. You hear this all the time, and they managed to get it done.
We call it kicking the can down the road.
But it's the draft will be a lot more important. And I know fans right now are going, God, would the Vikings be better off losing some of these games? I don't know. I mean, does it matter? I mean, it's a rhetorical question. We don't know.
Well, actually, you know what? I would say, I hate saying, that tanking's a good thing. And I'm not even saying intentionally, but I think it is better if they lose, unless you think they're going to run off the games and get in as a 9 and 8 club, but they're not.
No, they're not.
So it's just see some development of the team, entertaining games. Even if you lose a few, who cares?
Yeah,
I don't think off if you lose.
I don't think that's I don't think people are going to be doing the skull chant to the point of on Sunday afternoon that if they don't win, they're going to walk out of there, demonstratively disappointed. They will be if McCarthy doesn't put the ball in the end zone this week. I think that's the more important thing against Washington. And I hope, I don't know if he's going to or not, but I hope Jaden Daniels does play for Washington this week. They've lost 7 games in a row, which is almost twice as many losses as they had. Remember last year they went 12-5? Mm-hmm. I went to the NFC Championship game. So if you think misery loves company, look at Washington. No, they've had some pretty good competitive games, but if Jaden Daniels is the biggest, again, you talk about the quarterback, young quarterback. He was a big reason why they went and reached the NFC Championship game last year, and he's been hurt.
He was the number one reason. He was brilliant.
100%. Yeah, he was great, and I like to see. People. I hope if I can see a better chance. No, I want Jaden Daniels to play. I like to see him play. I mean, he's a talent. He's fun to watch. We don't have those many opportunities, and the Vikings have. You know what? They got as far as home games go, they got the Washington game and they got Detroit and Green Bay. They got 3 home games left in this month of December, and the first game is obviously January. The last game is January 4th against the Packers. So, I don't know. It shows you how crazy the league.
You mentioned when LaBelle ducked his head in real quick during a break. You asked him about Byron,
I did.
Buxton, and. Will he be traded? Does he want to be traded? And what can you get for him? And, I talked about this yesterday because the team is obviously they've cut, they had the sell off last year. They cut the payroll. They had the fire sale last year, and they've let a couple of players go already. It doesn't appear that their intentions are to try to get to the World Series this year. And I don't think even if their intentions were, I don't think they can. Buxton was really good last year. Probably his best year I think he's had. Maybe he had that one other longer season, because he's had one season where he played like 140 and then he played a lot of games last year. And other than that, he hasn't played a lot of games. But as the three of us were talking about, if he does want to be traded, I don't think you're going to get a boatload for him, but you're going to get more for him now than any other time. Because here's the thing: even if you keep him, his history is he gets injured a lot. Now, maybe every year's different. Maybe now he's on a stretch where he's never going to get hurt again. But boy, if I'm the friend, and I know this pains Twins fans that want to see a team compete. But I think it's probably in their best interest if they can.
Well, you're selling high right now.
You're selling high, and you're getting, and you would hopefully be getting young talent. That the young talent you acquire, the prospects. I don't know what percentage actually pan out in Major League Baseball. 1 out of 5, 1 out of 8, whatever it is. But the more you have, the better your chances you have of getting players that eventually can be, mainstays on the big league club.
And based on our quick conversation with Lavelle as well, I mean, you get the sense that of the other trades that would potentially be made, Joe Ryan's at the top of that list. And that pains me because, with starting pitching, I don't care if he's a pain in the butt behind the scenes. And, Pablo Lopez is going to be here. I don't think they're going to trade both of them. God, I hope not. But Ryan seems like a guy that is ready to move on from this nonsense going on over at Target Field and the ownership situation. And he wants to win. He wants to win now. Much the way Sonny Gray left, and now he's back in the American League with Boston. But I think there's probably a couple more moves to be had because they're not fooling anybody over there. They're not going to say, hey, we're going to go sign a top free agent. No, we know what they are. They're going to be a glorified Saints team. If you want to go watch it used to be go to St. Paul, watch the top minor league guys.
You'll watch them here now.
Now you get to go to Target Field to watch them. It just costs a little bit more money to watch them.
We're now the farm system for Major League Baseball. Yeah. We'll grow and develop players, and then you guys take them in the major leagues.
This text message or email says, Rosen's right. McCarthy needs reps. I have a plan to get him twice as many reps in the remaining 5 games as he's had all year long. It's called getting a first down.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
You can even do it twice or 3 times in a row. Some teams, believe it or not, employ the strategy to matriculate down the field and score what is called a touchdown. By the way, I'm willing to share this information with the head coach.
That's a good idea.
That's how we get more reps, get first down.
We can laugh about it. It's a funny email, but at the same time, it's been so long since it used to be, and even when Cousins was here, you go, they're going to put up 28 points a game and, getting in the end zone and having the explosions and blah, blah, blah at U.S. Bank. You just can't remember what that looks like. If they get a first down, you're kind of going, wow, they completed a 15-yard pass. And you're stunned. I never imagined watching a Viking offense with this kind of struggle to move the ball and score when you watch these other teams. Watch Detroit and Dallas tonight. I don't think either one of those teams are going to have trouble moving the football tonight. I think that's going to be a high-scoring game. But that's the point. The league is set up to score points. The rules are set up that way. The pass interference penalties, the way that they deal with the quarterback, roughing the passer, all the sorts of things, defensive holding. You got to put points on the board, and it's just been it's absolutely mind-boggling that they've gone 8 quarters without a touchdown.
Well, yeah, worst case scenario, it wouldn't, I don't think, mean the end for McCarthy, but if he plays against the Commanders like he has the last few games, it's just going to be like, what do we do? Because I don't know how long you can keep, I guess you just keep trotting them out there.
You don't have to.
I don't know. I guess you get Rosen or a second chance.
You got no other options.
But that doesn't work, though.
And now we're looking to next year anyway, so let him play for his job next year.
But, how ugly would it, just how uncomfortable would it be, and how bad? I've already said this before. I feel bad for the kid. I don't know why, because it's just such a struggle for him.
Yeah.
How bad will it get if they keep putting out there, and it doesn't get any better? Yeah. Every single series is the same.
Where's 9?
Well, we've seen it.
I want to see 9.
I want to see 9 again.
Go back to that Lions game on the road. They beat your kiddies on the road. How did that happen? I'm trying to remember. Yeah. All right.
You're picking the Vikings to beat the Commanders?
I don't know. I don't have any feeling about it.
I'm picking the purple. I think McCarthy's going to have a big game.
Yeah, okay, you said that once before.
We'll see you Tuesday at
have a good weekend.
You too.
Enjoy the game tonight. I hope not too much.
Tenby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. We enjoyed our visit. We're back tomorrow at 12 noon. Big Ticket JG. They're next right here on The Fan.
Well done, young man.
And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
You've got to be kidding me.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.